person who was actually at the wedding is our next guest, DJ Fat Tony. Hello,
welcome,
Tony. Tony.
Hi, guys.
Tony, we talked a lot about this over the last day or so, and you know, I personally feel a little uncomfortable doing this item because the family's business is private, even when it's public, it's still private.
Agree, yeah.
And at the heart of this is a mother and father who are estranged from their baby boy. So, why did you want to come on and talk about it today?
You know, I've just been away on honeymoon and in Miami, and it literally was overtaken by the whole Beckham saga and Beckham gate because. You know, yes, I was the DJ at the wedding. It wasn't a one-day wedding; it was a three-day wedding. I did the welcome party, then I did the wedding, and then I did a brunch on the Sunday, which was the most awkward part of it all because everything that had gone on the actual wedding night was discussed amongst all the guests the next morning. But the reason I'm on here is because literally. You can't comment, you can't... And I've been inundated. Last night, I've had about 250 messages, 1,000, not 50. I wish it was 250. Messages on Instagram alone of people going, spill the tea, spill the tea, spill the tea. You know, that's why I'm here is to talk about the word inappropriate. What we deem inappropriate, right? You're talking to probably one of the most inappropriate people in the world. If you've ever followed me on Instagram, you'll understand that. But
this is the thing, because everyone has got their own ideas and everyone's got an opinion, haven't they?
Yeah.
And you've seen the memes. The fact that Victoria's now become a meme is actually probably quite distressing because, like, no one really knows exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No one actually knows. But you was actually there. Yeah. I mean, was she dutty whining on the dance floor? What was she doing?
There was no... I'm not allowed to say slut dropping, but I'm going to say it. There was no slut dropping. There was no black cat PVC cat suits.
There was no twerking.
There was no Spice Girl action. What it was the word inappropriate. Why I said it was inappropriate as well was because at the time it was the timing. So what happened was, this is what happened, guys. Right. So basically, Mark Anthony was performing on stage. He then called Brooklyn onto stage. Brooklyn went onto the stage where the next minute everyone was expecting it to be Nicola to go up and do the first dance. And then Mark Anthony asks the most beautifulest woman in the room to come to the stage. And then he says, Victoria, come to the stage. So Victoria's by the stage, she goes onto the stage. And of course, at that point, Brooklyn's like suddenly, literally devastated because he thought he was going to do his first dance with his wife. Then Nicola leaves the room crying her eyes out. Brooklyn's stuck there on stage. And then they do this dance and Mark Anthony's like, go, put your hands on your mother's hips. And it was a Latin, you know, it's a Latin thing. And the whole situation was really awkward for everyone in the room. And you know, I've done an awful lot of Beckham parties in the past, and they're a very dancey, close-knit family. They love to dance, right? So, you know, what we deem as inappropriate is not how Brooklyn feels. Yes, this is all about how Brooklyn feels. If he felt it was inappropriate and awkward, then it was inappropriate.
It seems like it happened in the spur of the moment.
It really was.
So how, like, it's so difficult to deem what is inappropriate at a wedding.
And I think what's sad is that this is the bit that everybody's taken from this statement. They've kind of whitewashed everything else that went on. You know, it's taken a lot for someone to go to social media to post it when your life's lived out on social media, right? Firstly. You know, it's a safe space in the sense of, OK, you can control the narrative. He wanted to change the narrative. For the last 4 years, he's been Nepo Baby. For all of his life, he's been called Nepo Baby. Oh, he should be grateful that he's got the family name. You can't... That's what he was born into. You know, I think what we're all missing here is the fact that parents have lost their child, their son, and the son's lost his parents and the rest of his family. You know, it's...
But, you know, would you not have counselled him to step back there and not say it and just go and live a life and not be... Because all this is doing is blowing the whole thing
but,
up.
you know, the thing is, everything's drip-fed, right? We live in a world where people make their own presumptions about everything.
But there's nothing you can do about it.
No, you can't. And, you know, the reason why I've decided to come on this morning, because it's a safe space, I've been inundated with, you're a liar, you're this, you're that, and I haven't even commented. My poor husband was in an argument.
He made a comment, didn't he?
He made a brief comment saying, you weren't there, I was, it's true, on about the inappropriate dance. which then led on to, you know, literally, but the amount of it's ridiculous.
But can we just look at this from another point of view, in the sense of, really, why is Victoria getting blamed when it was Mark Anthony who put her in that situation, was egging it on as he went through the dance? Yeah. Ultimately, it's her baby. Of course, she don't want to embarrass everybody in front of 500 guests. It's actually quite a difficult position to be in. So I know I can understand where Brooklyn's coming from, and we believe everything that Brooklyn's saying. But why didn't he take that 8-page statement and send it to his parents?
He's done all that.
He's sent that
he's spoken to them. This is, you know, it got to the point for him where he can't take this anymore and wanted to step back from it, and that was his way of doing closure. You know, if the statement started with, "I do not want to reconcile with my parents," and you know, that's his decision, and how he deals with it.
That's a dagger to your heart, man. I mean, like,
come on, I couldn't think of anything worse.
Devastated.
Right? If, you know, I could only talk. I'm only a dog dad, right? But you know, I didn't talk to my own father for 30 years through my own understanding of a situation that I made up in my own head, and it wasn't until I considered it with my father that I realised that it was my part. I had to look at my part in it, and of course, you know. It's really sad. It's a sad situation, and people are going, "Oh, do you think they'll talk?" Of course they will at some point. They're family, you know. But I think that the noise needs to die down.
Yeah.
People need to step back from it. We live in a world where everyone is judge, jury, and executioner on Instagram, on TikTok.
Yeah.
I didn't realise there was like 2.5 million people at that wedding, because everyone seems to think they were there, you know, because they've all got to comment on it, and it's like. The thing about it is we live in a world where everyone thinks they work for CBN. Everyone, the amount of like news reporters there are on TikTok, you know, putting their 2 pennies worth in. I'm sure they're going to have a field day with this one. But that's the world we live in, you know.
What was the morning after the wedding like? What was people saying?
Well, you know, when the bride and the groom leave their own wedding devastated, it kind of like word trickles out, and people, again, there not many people turn up to the brunch, to say the least. But you know, it was the talk of, you know, everyone was talking about it. Everyone was talking about how sad that part of it was. But you know, I think the whole situation was thrown in. Victoria was thrown into it, and of course, you know. I think that too much is being read into it. I think in the sense of there's too many stories being added to it. And I think that, as I say, the dance is a very small part of the bigger problem. Yeah. I think that's what needs to be done.
You know the family well. Do they reconcile? How do they reconcile?
How any family, right? Listen, families are families. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when Aiden gets married?
Well, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I probably will be doing a couple of dotty wines on the dance floor, because it's my son at the end of the day.
Hello.
And I want to have a little dance with him at some point. But
it's when Ali gets married that I'm going to be there walking her down the aisle.
Do you know that? I've been DJing and she just formed a conga on the dance floor. So you want to talk about inappropriate?
I am inappropriate. But it just saddens me more than as a mother. The whole thing saddens me, and I would like to put it out there to Brooklyn and to Victoria. I would love to bring you all together, and I will mediate and do this.
Wow.
So, you'll be a great mediator.
I'm happy to mediate this situation.
That's it all sorted.
If they want to do that, Tony. But listen, thank you for talking your truth.
Yeah, it is my truth, and that's all it can be, and also that's Brooklyn's truth, and it's Victoria and David's truth. You know, there's a lot of truth going on in it, but it's just all miscommunicated.
Well, listen, we just hope, send the whole family our best and hope they can be reconciled as soon as possible. Thank you.
Listen, we did reach out to Victoria and David's representatives for comment, but they have yet to come back to us.